shine sejote. Ayana hoshine ke hoshite hoyenakate. Oyana se. Oi shino. Oi shino. Oi shino. Oi shino. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. Oishino, 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 oishino. Happy Fearless Friday. It's Fearless Friday, folks. What are you still afraid of and pretending not to be? Aho, aho, I see you. Walking Crow for the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine. And I am the Sacred Drum Medicine embodied. Walking Crow is that. And that is Walking Crow. Aho shinowana honata. Thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you, Great Mother. Thank you, power and the guidance of the medicine wheel in all our relations. Aho shinowana. Hey, thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Aho shinowana he means thank you, brothers and sisters. And I thank the guides and the spirits and Great Spirit and Great Mother and all the relations for allowing me to speak that language and to understand in the way that my heart understands. So I've been wanting to do a little bit of a talk for a few days now. I did one earlier in the week that was pretty powerful on Wednesday. That was just Wednesday. Anyways, so I ran into somebody on Wednesday, and they put out a call on social media saying that they needed a wheelchair, but they were reluctant to ask for help on social media. They were reluctant to ask for help on social media. And it was right there that I realized that this person had a broken heart. This person has low self-esteem. This person has no self-worth. This person had, because I drove by their house the other day and there was an ambulance out in front and I didn't know it was this person. She had pulmonary thrombosis. I can't remember what it was, but she had lung issue. And when anybody has lung issue or heart issue, they have a broken heart that they haven't done anything about. And she needed a wheelchair, and I took a wheelchair over there. She was literally around the corner, 100 yards from my house. So I went over there and I took it, I delivered it, and we started to have a conversation. And I asked her if it was okay to read her. And I started to read her. And I asked her about her life and her parents and all those things that she had no control over as a little girl. And she started to tell me how she did the work, and she did this, and she did the other thing. And I said, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Do you know the Ho'oponopono? I asked her. She says, yes, I did that. I said, then how come you're having these issues in your tissues? How come you have low self-esteem? How come you can't ask for help? Aho. I learned early on in my walk that I need to ask for help. I have to ask for help. And if I don't ask for help, there's something wrong with Walking Crow. There's something wrong with Anthony J. Rodriguez. Walking Crow. I became Walking Crow when I became empowered to do the things that I do. Not that you do or you do for me, but the things that I do for me. That allow me to do for you. To be in common unity with community. Oh, I have been supported, not supported by people in my life, people who say they love me, well-meaning people, but they don't have the capacity or the capability to support me because nobody supported them, and it was in my lineage. It was in my lineage. It's still in the lineage, but I'm the repair of the lineage. I got to change things in my family for me and the people that I come in contact with. Whether they change or not, doesn't matter. I healed the relationship with my father, and he's been dead for 30 years, but I was able to do that in the present state of my being. I healed the relationship, the mommy issue that I had with my mother for over 50 years, and I was able to heal that. And I made choices behind that wound that allowed me to get married 3 times and have gazillion relationships that weren't relationships because nobody was relating, didn't know how to. Where would I get the skills to learn how to do that? But healing that relationship, and over the time of being walking crow and learning and understanding and taking heed what it was that was happening in my life, I learned how to be compassionate, be the Kuan Yin in my life, and say, oh, this person doesn't know how to. I don't have to hold their feet to the fire. That person doesn't know how to. I don't have to hold their feet to the fire. And I no longer have to carry those things around in my body, in my memory, in my mind, up in the ethers where I keep thinking about them. And every time I pull off the Band-Aid, I wound myself. This woman who I saw the other day, I took the wheelchair over to, she keeps pulling the Band-Aid off the wound and re-injuring herself, and keeps traumatizing herself by telling the story of what was. And I said to her, honey, that's not happening anymore. That hasn't happened for a long time. When are you going to leave that alone and stop pretending that you're healing something? Because you're not. And unfortunately, I have to say that there's a lot of healers out there, supposed healers, who say they're healing and they're doing this and that and the other. And as soon as I start to have a conversation with them, I start unraveling the thread. Start unraveling the sweater. And I have to stop because it's like, it's not my place until they ask me. It is not my place until they ask me or till I ask permission. So I hear what people say, and I hear what people are supposedly teaching, and I got to tell you, I don't care what you learn from the book. I don't give a shit what you learn from the book. If you don't have practical experience of your own and how you could and how you did and how you should have and how you did and how you did and how you did, you got to leave things alone, because I don't care who writes what book. There are a million books out there to tell me how to do lots of things, but those people did not live in my house. They didn't live in my soul. They didn't live in my voice. They didn't live in my body. They did not live up in here, up in here. That's all I got to say. So if you're suffering and you feel like you're not supported, or nobody loves me, or nobody cares, and this trauma happened, and you're still walking around with that backpack, and it's getting heavier and heavier, and you just can't seem to be able to dog paddle out of the swimming pool because you don't know, because you're carrying all that weight on your back and it's pulling you down into the darkness of the water, into the place of the emotion, direction of the west, direction of fall, direction of letting go, and you won't slip off the backpack. You let it drag you down. Oh, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Say oishi no to me. Say oishi no to me. Say oishi no to me. Say oishi no. Say, I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. Walking crow, I am ready, but I don't know how. Let me show you how. Let me hold your hand and walk you through. Nobody's going to leave you alone in the dark. Nobody's going to leave you alone in the lurch. That's not happening anymore. Are you ready to do something about the something you don't know how to do anything about? Are you tired of a lifetime of dog paddling? Aren't you tired? Aren't your little paws tired of doing this when you can learn how to broad stroke and learn how to swim and find your way through and out of the darkness of your emotion? EMOCEAN. Oh shit, naka. Oh shit, dik. Oh shit, na ya nakote. I've spoken to probably anywhere from 5 to 10 people this week, in the last week, 10 days, about this kind of stuff. And there's so many people who are wounded right now. And a lot of these wounds have bubbled up because of this whole COVID experience, because of this being indoors, because of being trapped, feeling trapped, not being loved, not being cared for, not being a lot of things, feeling like you're tethered to something that you just can't let go of. A ball and chain. Are you your own ball and chain? I hope people joke about that with relationships. But I just spoke to somebody earlier today who shared about a relationship that they were in, and they had to let go, and they're recovering from the relationship. And then later I saw her post pictures of herself naked in a silhouette. In silhouette, you couldn't see anything, but the imagination runs wild. And you know what? You will attract more dogs, more packs of dogs doing stuff like that. Do you honor yourself? Do you respect yourself? Let go of that old wound and do something about that, and stop attracting garbage into your life. There's nothing wrong with the naked female form, nothing at all. But when you have issues in your tissues and you know it, and you get triggered, and you pick shitty relationships, do you know what it is that you're doing when you do something like that? Honor yourself in a different way, please. You know, nobody loves women as much as I do, but I'm going to tell you what. When I saw that today, I thought, yeah, I know why you have a broken picker. Low self-esteem will have you do things that you really don't think about. And you'll make decisions in your life that stop your life, that stop you from growing, that stop you from having, that stop you from being. Nobody says that you shouldn't have a relationship, but you really ought to have a relationship with the inner self, with the interpersonal child, the child that got left behind. Ionana Oi, Ionana Oi, Ionana Oi, Ionana Oi. Ionana Oi is a promissory song to love the self. To love the self so much, to love me, to love to love the I am that I say I am, the fire within. And go back and bring that child that you left behind, that broken child that hasn't been helped, that hasn't been fixed, that hasn't been loved, that hasn't been nurtured, that hasn't been supported, and bring that child forward. I onana oi, I onana oi, I onana oi. And integrate that little boy or that little girl with the man child, with the woman child. It's time to be whole, not to live in a hole. It's time to be WHOLE. Are you ready? Oishino, are you ready? Oishino, are you ready? Oishino. I am ready. I was ready. I have been ready. And I have done the work that fucking hurts. And if you're out there giving yourself a title and a name and you're not doing the work and you're trying to help others because you're avoiding yourself, you're doing others a disservice. You do yourself a disservice and you only prolong your agony. Aho. And your bad choices. Aho. Anyways, I don't know if that's the way that I wanted to talk about things, but that's the way that the guides gave it to me. And I listen to the guides. I never argue with them. I never question them because my soul is more important than that. And they know that. My guides and my spirits only want what's best for me. So they help me to make right and righteous decisions, not self-righteous decisions. And if you don't know the difference between those two words, look it up. Look up the Google. Righteous and self-righteous. There's a big difference. And they are not the same thing. Aho, aho. So, are you kind to yourself? Are you loving to yourself? Do you give yourself breath, or do you partially breathe to your high heart, low fifth? To here, and not into your flame, not into your fire, not into your fuego, not into you. I can, I will, I do, I am the I am that I say I am. Oh, I said in the beginning of this video, I see you, and I see you. I read your posts. And a lot of the posts that I see are the reason that I ask the questions and say the things that I say on social media. I ask hard questions. I will be in your face. I will poke you with the stick because you need to be poked with the stick. Oh, we have just come out of a year of containment, of being tethered to the house, being tethered to people that you really don't know, your family, and you've been tethered with them, and you've had to live with your wife or your kids in a different way, and there's been seemingly no freedom in that. Do you want to be free? Can you be free? Will you be free? Will you give it to yourself? Will you nurture the nature of who and what you are and who and what you have always been, but it was taken away from you by well-meaning people, by people who couldn't keep their hands to themselves because they too were wounded and they molested you, or they abused you, or they hit you physically, or they emotionally drained you, or they were tanked by the narcissist. There's a lot of people out there that don't know how to find help. And have you been sitting on that therapist couch or psychiatrist couch or psychologist couch for years and still there and being drained of your hard-earned money and still in the same stuck place you were when you started? Tell me that you are ready. Tell me that you want more than that you've allowed yourself to have. Tell yourself that you are worthy of the most beautiful, precious things on earth, and that is you. I see myself in the mirror, and I attract like souls into my world, into my life, and I'm happy to have them here. And those who don't want to be here, well, you can go wherever it is that you go, because I don't care. But if you're willing to become willing to do something about your life, to do something about your broken heart. Do you know that smoking vape, smoking cigarettes, smoking pot are a sign of a broken heart? You give yourself a temporary fix for a long-term problem, and then you do nothing about the broken heart. Then you get puffed up with ego because, I'm somebody. Oh, you're not fucking anybody. Sorry, not sorry. But when you do something about that broken heart and you start to speak the truth that your Creator intended you to speak, you will have an esteemed life that is magnificent. I can guarantee that because I'm proof in the pudding. I live an esteemed life. I live in the power of who and what is Walking Crow. And Walking Crow is a transformational sacred drum medicine embodied. It's not about just the drum. It's not about rattles. It's about the work that I do, the interpersonal work that I've done for myself, that I do with others on the table, or mentoring them and walking them through the darkness. Allow yourself to be the light in your darkness. Allow yourself to beam outward and not be reaching for mommy or daddy through somebody else, through a lover, through a wife, through a girlfriend, through a husband, through whatever. Learn how to reach for yourself, to reach inward, and take hold of your shoulders and hold that child within and allow the child to cry and allow the child to be. It's a blessed life that I have been given. And I couldn't live it for my first 50 years. I didn't know how. I just got by, and I don't want to get by. I want to live in my light. I want to live in my being. I want to live in the being of my doing and my doing of the being. I am the I am that I say I am. And you have no horse in this race. This is something I do on my own. But I give what I learned to the world as wisdom. They're the stepping stones of my wisdom in this lifetime, in my second half of my lifetime, the duality of my lifetimes. And I am honored to be me. So if you're ready to give yourself something and you don't know how, feel free to reach out to me. 818-442-1717. Send me make a phone call or send me a text. Or you can reach out at walkingcrow@sacreddrummedicine.com, walkingcrow@sacreddrummedicine.com, or check my website out, sacreddrummedicine.com, sacreddrummedicine.com. But if you don't come to me, find somebody that'll hold your hand and walk with you through the darkness, and say, "Don't worry, I'm here. It's going to be okay." Even if they're not here and they should have been, they don't know how to be. Learn how to be. Learn how to be the repair in your lineage. That you are the repair in your lineage. Not for them, but for you. And for your future. And for your children. And your children's children. Aho. Walking Crow for the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine, asking you to have a blessed, 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 fearless Friday. Because nobody can bless you in that way but you. Aho. Aho.